And in the community around that village, there are remnants of rockets that people have made into garden decorations. And they display it to bear witness.
Thank you, everybody, for coming out. My name is Vito Fasella. I'm proud to be the Borough President of Staten Island. I want to thank the JCC and Kojo really for helping to organize this. Without them, today would not have been possible. So thank you to everybody who made this day possible and to put it together. As you can see around me and behind me, there'll be a few speakers. But today is a day of mourning and a day of prayer. It's a day of mourning for the estimated 1,000 Jews who were killed in a single day, the most Jews that have been slaughtered in a single day since the Holocaust. And it's a day for prayer for those who are being held hostage, that they may be reunited safely and peacefully with their families soon. Staten Island is no stranger. Let me repeat that. The people of Staten Island understand, sadly, what terrorism feels like. And today, so do the people of Israel. When we were attacked, Israel stood with us. Now when Israel is attacked, we must stand with them. These barbaric and evil attacks reflect the ambition of many to annihilate not only innocent victims and civilians, including children, but also the state of Israel and all its people. We need to remind ourselves continually what happened. Terrorists went door to door and dragged dead bodies through the streets. They went to a music festival and slaughtered young adults in cold blood. They raped and humiliated young women for all the world to see. One of the reasons we need to remind ourselves is while the horror is ripe for now, there will be those who will want to move on, while the terrorists will apply equal value to a dead Jew and a dead Palestinian. They don't want peace. They want destruction at all costs. More than 20 years ago, we were invaded by those who sought to bring us down. Each year on 9/11, we are reminded of that effort and the full effects of that evil. A similar evil is still alive. After 9/11, we stood united to repel that evil, and we must do so again now. History has taught us that most people just want to live in peace, regardless of the religion or where your family is from. Just look around Staten Island or go into a school and see for yourself. History has also taught us that we will always be a small minority that live for death. Let us stand united with Israel as it seeks to allow its people to live in peace. Yes. Staten Island stands with Israel. It is my honor to introduce the Consul General, Shak Sar.
So, my homeland is under a brutal attack. We're at war for our lives. And my homeland is the closest ally of your homeland in the Middle East and beyond. The same homeland is the spiritual anchor for a significant Jewish community in America. This Saturday morning, during Simchat Torah, Shmini Atzeret, a day that symbolizes joy in the Jewish calendar, Palestinian terrorists from Hamas unleashed a horrifying attack on Israeli civilians and soldiers. This cruelty was unprecedented. They killed over 1,000 individuals, and the numbers are rising. They left thousands injured and abducted more than 100. The victims spanned Jews and non-Jews, Israelis, and also Americans. From civilians to soldiers, from young to the elderly. Their atrocities committed unspeakable. Children were murdered, women were assaulted and then abducted to Gaza. Elderly women at a bus stop were sprayed with bullets. Others were set ablaze. These acts have stripped the victims of their humanity. It marks the deadliest day in the Jewish people for the Jewish people since the Holocaust, as you said, BP. Hamas is even worse than ISIS. These horrifying actions were not just against Israel, but they were also acts against America, against the free world, against all of humanity. Hamas, displaying a malevolence surpassing even ISIS, will be held accountable. Our response is not rooted in a desire for revenge, but in the commitment that such terror should never, ever occur again. Israel is poised to take decisive action against Hamas, aiming to curtail both their capabilities and their motivation for future acts. This also applies to their ability to launch thousands of missiles at Israel. Just as a reminder, 5,000 missiles were shot at Israel the first day. Their enhanced capabilities have been fostered by Iran, a regime notorious for its destabilizing actions across the Middle East. Through funding, armament, training, and strategic oversight, they have empowered these terror acts. It's evident that Tehran had a hand in these recent events, and is fueling tensions also in Lebanon, aiming for a broader conflict against Israel. Their ambitions will be thwarted. In America, the outpouring of support for Israel has been heartening. My sincere thanks go to the President, governors, federal legislators, mayors, BPs, DAs, and other bipartisan elected representatives. Many buildings illuminated in blue and white and the raising of our flag are symbols of this immense support. The numerous calls and messages of solidarity I receive are also a testament to this backing. While there are vocal pro-terror demonstrations, they pale in comparison to the massive support for Israel. We stand in confrontation with a ruthless adversary, one that does not flinch at using its children as human shields, an enemy that glorifies death. It's imperative that we vocalize our denunciation of these acts of terror, and with unwavering resolve and determination, we will triumph. Am Yisrael Chai.
Thank you very much, Consul General. And, you know, we all go through hardships, and when the chips are down, you know who your friends are. So tell your countrymen that in this room and across Staten Island, you have people who won't break or bend as you administer justice for your people. So thank you. I'd like to call up next the District Attorney of Staten Island, Michael McMahon. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Michael McMahon, and never before was I more privileged and honored to serve the people of Staten Island as their district attorney, because as I look around this room, I see so many Staten Islanders from different walks of life who come out together and join with our great borough president who put this conference together with our friends from COJO and the JCC to send a very clear message. And you see all of us together, elected officials and leaders of the community, bipartisan together with a very clear message to you, Mr. Consul General, and the people of Israel and the people of the world, that we are unified and we are resolute. We are unified as we join together to grieve what has happened to those 1,000+ Israelis and Americans as well, and people from all around the world, people who believed in democracy and freedom of speech and all the values that we Americans hold dear in a very difficult neighborhood. Yet we are unified in our grief for them, and we are unified in our support. And you should know that the people of Staten Island here, the local community, will never bend in our unity and our unified support for you and your people. And we are also resolute as allies, not only for our federal government and our armed forces, and I commend our president and our armed forces being ready, but also the local community. We are resolute in support of what you are doing to root out the evils of terrorism once and for all from this planet. And yes, the parallels to 9/11 are so acute and sharp. It was terrorism that caused the horrors to us here in Staten Island and New York and across this country on 9/11, and that's what's happened in Israel as well. It is terrorism that has caused it. And some may say, well, it's 1,000 people. We lost 3,000 in one moment and so many more after with 9/11 sickness. But if you think a country of 9 million people, 1,000 lost. We being over 300 million at the time, 3,000 lost. The numbers are so similar. But what is so similar as well is that it is hatred. Hatred and a disregard for life that we see in these videos and these appalling things. And so we are resolute as we join you, sir, and your people to work together to root out this terror and to make sure that the people of Israel have what we want here as well, the ability to live free, to enjoy life without the fear of this evil terrorism. Let me also say this. As the Chief Law Enforcement Officer of Staten Island, I joined together with our brothers and sisters from the police department who are here, making sure that this facility and all Jewish houses of worship across the city, as well as Muslim and Catholic and Christian, are all safe. And let me send a message to any who may think that any type of anti-Semitic hate crime should occur here on Staten Island. You will be caught, you will be prosecuted, and you will feel the full weight of our hate crime laws here in New York. God bless the people of Israel. God bless Jews all around the world. God bless you all and those who support them. And God bless these United States of America. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. You may not be able to see it, some of you, but ironically, there's a flag hanging right above you. It says the flag of honor. It contains those names of killed in the terrorist attacks of 9/11. Now and forever will represent their immortality. We shall never forget them, and we won't forget those who lost. Next up is Senator Andrew Lanza.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Borough President Vito Fasella, Kojo, the Consul General, my colleagues here, the JCC, for gathering us at this very momentous time. We are here, as you've heard, in solidarity with the free people of Israel, the people, one of the strongest allies of America and freedom around the world. You know, Dr. Henry Kissinger said that the security of Israel is a moral imperative for free people around the world. Why? Because if you allow the light of freedom to be dimmed in one part of the world, darkness will fall on all of the world. Ever since evil crept into the Garden of Evil, it has stalked mankind. It has had many faces and many names. Socialism, communism, absolute monarchies, fascism, Nazism, and yes, Al-Qaeda, Hezbollah, and Hamas. And regardless of the name, regardless of the face, it has always had but one goal, and that is to extinguish the light of freedom in the hearts of humankind and to extinguish it from the world. And we will not, the free people of America, will not allow that to happen in Israel or anywhere. So why does the evil that bears the name Hamas, why does it stalk Israel? Why does it seek as its mission on earth to extinguish the people of Israel and to extinguish Jews all around the world? They say that is their goal on earth. Why do they do it? It is because the people of Israel dare to put their faith in God and not in man. It is because the people of Israel dare to honor individual liberty, to choose individual liberty over a king. Sound familiar? It ought to every good American who knows their Constitution. We are born of the same concept. We are both born in freedom. We are both born in those same concepts. It is why we are both hated by the same evil. It is why we are both stalked by the same terrorists. It is why we must both stand to eternity together. Israel is a beacon of freedom in a sea of oppression. That's why they are hated. That's why they are stalked. That's why Hamas, backed by Iran, has done this. It's the kind of thing that happens when you give a state like Iran billions of dollars. John F. Kennedy said that Israel was a child of hope and a land of brave. By hope, he meant that as humankind, we hope that free nations and freedom can exist on this earth. It can endure. You know, you heard from the borough president, the consul general, the district attorneys, and you'll hear from others of the horror that we have witnessed. Women being dragged through the streets, children being kidnapped, 3-year-olds and 5-year-olds. I ask, what kind of people could do this? Only evil people can do this. And yet I watched the protest in Manhattan from the Democrat Socialists. I watched pundits, even people in government in America, act as if there's a choice for our children here as to which side we ought to be in. You know the old two sides of a story? There is no two sides to this story. In a way they are right, though. There is a choice between good and evil, a choice between love and hate, a choice between Israel and Hamas. Well, we choose good, we choose love, and we choose Israel. God bless Israel.
Break the case, Eddie. Break.
Thank you very much, Senator. Next up is Senator Jessica Scarcella-Spanton.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much to our borough president for putting this together today, along with COJO and the JCC. What we've been seeing over the last few days transpiring in Israel is absolutely devastating. This is a terrorist attack. There is nothing else to call it. Hamas is a terrorist organization, and we are here to stand united, despite party, despite what you're seeing in New York City, to your point, by the Democratic Socialists. This is who we are in New York City and New York State. We stand firmly with Israel. And I just want to take a moment to really highlight how many people in our district personally that have family and friends in Israel. We represent both Staten Island and Southern Brooklyn, and we have so many people who've been reaching out to us to try to seek help for their loved ones, desperate as they watch videos of women being dragged across the street and families being torn apart, children being left parentless. It's absolutely devastating what we're seeing. We will do everything we can to connect you with the appropriate people in the federal government, but my heart is with you, our prayers are with you. God bless Israel, God bless the United States, and we're here for you.
Next up in the State Assembly, we will by seniority here as Assemblyman Michael Riley.
Thank you, Borough President. Thank you, COJO. Thank you to the JCC. What you see here is hope. Hope is standing up. We're standing up against this evil, shoulder to shoulder. Bipartisanship. Let Staten Island be the beacon for how it's supposed to be. We will always stand with you. Thank you.
Assemblyman Michael Tanusis.
So I spent a good part of, better part of this weekend glued to the television, watching all the coverage and watching the carnage, the barbaric acts that occurred. You know, a part of me also, you know, my parents were just in Israel. They went on a Christian tour. I picked them up from the airport earlier last week, and to think that people, the Israeli people, who have already gone through so much, be the victims of these barbaric acts. I know there was a news report about an hour ago that 40 children were found dead and beheaded. These are the type of barbaric acts that we need to fight against. There is no negotiation. There is no compromise. When you are willing to purposely kill women, negotiation, what kind of agreement are you able to do? It is appalling. We stand with the people of Israel at this difficult time, and I know that the Israeli government will do everything it can to stabilize Israel and to protect its residents. Thank you. God bless you.
Assemblyman Sam Pirozzolo.
Good morning. I'm deeply disturbed to hear the words that Assemblyman Tanushas just said about the children that were found. Never in my lifetime would I have thought that I would be witnessing scenes of the Holocaust carried out right before my eyes in real time. I have so many words to say, yet that I fear that after I've said them, I have not said enough. We've all seen the videos of terrorists invading Israel. Over 260 people murdered at a music festival, families being murdered in their homes, women being raped, and their dead, naked bodies being paraded through the streets of Gaza to chants of Allahu Akbar. People are being butchered, and their own murder is being shown on Gaza. I ask myself, how can they celebrate such violence? It begs me to ask another question. Are the people of Gaza being held captive by Israel, or are the people of Gaza being held captive by Hamas? I think we've seen the answer of that question today. Now the answer is plain for the world to see. So let me be clear. Let me be very clear. My support is for Israel and with her people. With their actions, Hamas thought they would terrorize the world. But that is not what they have done. What they have done is to horrify the world with their murderous actions, and they have sealed their own fate. We have seen rallies held by democratic socialists in the support of Hamas. The democratic socialists have cheered this barbarism and openly support murder that is ongoing. We have not seen these types of rallies in New York City since the Nazis were in Madison Square Garden in 1939, and yet now we see them again. But there is much work to do. Recently, a prominent politician has called for the formal deprogramming of America First supporters. Yes, yet on this subject, her response, in my opinion, has been inadequate and the equivalent of silence. So if we are formally to deprogram people, let's eradicate the democratic socialist ideologies within our own midst. We cannot be safe in a world until we are safe at home. And with the recent proliferation at our border, I cannot surely say that we are safe at home. So yes, may God bless America, but may God also bless Israel.
The Republican leader of the City Council, Councilman Joe Borelli.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here amongst so many morally clear people in our community. I've heard the comparison that this is Israel's 9/11, and certainly that's a valid comparison. I've heard the statistics that show this is the largest number of Jews killed since the Holocaust. But think back to the Holocaust. The Nazis tried to hide their crimes. They marched people out into the woods, outside of town. They told the Einsatzgruppe not to film the atrocities that were happening. They built concentration camps away from the populations. They knew and they calculated that their crimes and the exposure of them would not bode well for their cause on the world stage. They burned the bodies so there'd be no evidence. And yet this is the opposite. We have Hamas who films and broadcasts their crimes. They film and broadcast their crimes because they know, in their calculation, that their bloodlust only bolsters their support amongst their followers. And that's why it's so outrageous when we see democratic socialist politicians here in New York accepting that New Yorkers are going to rally for this cause. They could have had a rally for Palestinian statehood a week ago. They could have had a rally for Palestinian statehood a month from now. But they chose the morning after hundreds of Israeli people were murdered, raped, mutilated on live television. If these politicians aren't like the governor and our state senators and our U.S. senators, the majority of people who I occasionally disagree with, but if they're not part of that group that was willing to call that out, then friends, I ask you all in this room, stop extending the hand to these people for the photo ops. Stop inviting them to the holidays. Point your finger at them in condemnation instead. These aren't people worthy of your time. So that's one thing you can do. That's one thing you can do. Most of you here, by the looks of it, aren't going to fight with the IDF anytime soon. But you all have social media. So I was privileged enough to stand in Sderot in front of the police station that's now been on every news broadcast every hour of the day, it seems. And in front of that police station was a container holding all the remnants of rockets as evidence to what has happened before. And in the community around that village, there are remnants of rockets that people have made into garden decorations. And they display it to bear witness to what happened. Something tells me that these very same people might not be upset if you share the images that you have seen. Don't let them be like the Nazis when the world starts to react differently than they think. Don't let them hide their crimes. Share every photo you see. Document every image, every atrocity, every appalling thing that you had to see. Don't let them forget their crimes. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Councilmember David Carr.
Thank you, Borough President. Thank you to COJO and to JCC for organizing us here today. Thank you to my colleagues for your enormous support and solidarity in support of Israel. The state of Israel has a right to exist. And that means, absolutely, they have a right to exist as a Jewish state, and that means they have a right to their own defense. And we are all here today in support of that defense against a group of terrorist butchers who deserve nothing but swift justice. The Consul General said it, that these perpetrators of these heinous acts have stripped their victims of their humanity, and that's true. But in so doing what they are doing, they have laid bare that these perpetrators have surrendered their own humanity, and that there is nothing to do here but to find peace through victory. Peace through victory, because that is what will bring peace to the region and safety and security to all the people living in Israel. It's been 75 years since Israel was created, and at that time, they found themselves immediately beset by a conflict with their neighbors. A conflict they didn't seek. A conflict that they hoped to avoid by agreeing to the UN partition plan that would have given the Palestinians a state over 75 years ago. And yet it was the decision of those who are the heirs in spirit to those who made war on Israel 75 years ago at a point of its birth that have now rejected the opportunity for peace once again. And so that is why I am proud to do what is the only right thing in this situation, which is to stand in solidarity with the people of Israel and Jews all over the world. At the end of last year, my colleague, Councilmember Hanks, and I, along with council colleagues from the rest of the city, visited Israel. And we learned so much about that place, its history, and the beautiful lives that it nurtures, both Jews and Muslim and Christian, all throughout its land. The people who live in the state of Israel have the best standard of living and the best access to civil and political rights of anyone in the region, including for its Arab citizens. And the reality is that they are the best beacon for freedom and hope in that region. And absolutely. And when we were there, we visited the Gaza envelope, and we visited a kibbutz called Kfar Aza, who have been under attack for years before these recent events took place. And I was heartbroken to see that that kibbutz no longer stands, and that many of those that we met were taken hostage, and the rest are without a home. And I remember the words of the folks who took us around, who ended their presentation to us with words of hope for peace that could be found with neighbors miles away, many of whom wish them harm. What's happened is unacceptable. What's happened can never happen again, and as I said earlier, it can only end with peace through victory. And that is why I stand ready with my colleagues to support Israel no matter the cost. Thank you, and God bless these United States, and God bless Israel.
Thank you, David. Councilmember Camilla Hanks.
Good morning. I'm Councilmember Camilla Hanks, and I am proud to be here today with Borough President Scarcella, my colleagues in government, our partners at JCC, and the Council of Jewish Organizations, including COJO. When I walked into this building today and I see some familiar faces, what I saw was relief that I was here, appreciation of everyone behind me that had shown up, because support of Israel is just that fragile. That all of you are thinking about friends, family members in Israel you have not heard from, and the atrocities and the stories that have been over the television as of late. The last time I was in this building, I was with my colleague, Councilmember David Carr, because we did go to Israel. And the first stop on that trip was the Lebanese border. And I remember being afraid. Our last stop was the kibbutz on the Gaza envelope, and I could remember being petrified. Can you imagine that that is what the people of Israel feel all the time? All the time. And that is why that trip was so significant. I've been to Auschwitz. I've been to the Holocaust museums. But my trip to Israel was truly life-changing, because it's not unlike anything you've ever experienced before, and a people that have a resolve so resolute, and they stay there and they fight, and all they want is peace and a reason to self-actualize, a reason to be. So on the morning of Saturday, October 7th, Hamas terrorist organization infiltrated Israeli territory in a number of different locations from the Gaza Strip. There is no justification for these brutal acts against innocent Israeli families. We've seen the horrific images and videos and heard the heartbreaking stories from Israel since Saturday morning. And make no mistake, Israel has every right to defend itself from these brutal and baseless attacks. Let's be clear, Hamas is nothing more than a militant terrorist organization spreading fear, but we will not be afraid. We will not be afraid. We stand, my colleagues and I, stand with Israel. Our prayers continue to be with the victims of the attack, and we pray for the safe return of civilians who were kidnapped by Hamas, and an end to the violence. And all of us being here today will serve as to signify that you're not alone. We have your back, and we stand with Israel. God bless Israel, and God bless America.
We also have representatives from the mayor's office and Congresswoman Maliataka's office. You have a statement? Sherry does.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. I am honored to represent Congresswoman Nicole Maliatakis today. She's in Washington, D.C. It's going to be a very busy week for them in Washington. She's been a longtime supporter of Israel, and for this reason, she's been sanctioned by Iran. And she's proud to have been sanctioned by Iran because her support is for Israel. She's also a member of the U.S. Congress Knesset Friendship Group, and she's done a lot of work with them. And I have a letter she sent that I'd like to read. The people of Staten Island and the United States stand with Israel during this incredibly difficult time, as Israel defends itself against Iranian-backed terror and savage acts from Hamas and Hezbollah. We condemn these horrific crimes against humanity and understand that, as our greatest ally in the Middle East, Israel's security is critical to our security. We must continue to provide Israel with the support it needs to win this war, including precision-guided munitions and interceptors for the Iron Dome air defense system. We must also restore maximum pressure on Iran by reinstating, expanding, and enforcing all sanctions, rescinding all waivers, and getting the international community on board to economically cripple this sponsor of terrorism that funds 70% of Hamas's activities. Because of our congressional district's robust and vibrant Jewish community, there are many constituents of ours with loved ones currently in Israel. As we await for further evacuation instructions from the State Department, it is critical that all American citizens in Israel register with the State Department so our government can get a full accounting of how many Americans are on the ground and are in need of assistance. And I have the phone number and the website, and my coworker Lily is here with the information also. We can give you for the Americans in Israel to register. It's so important. And let's continue to stay united against this anti-Semitism and in support of our Jewish friends and the State of Israel's right to exist and defend itself. Nicole Maliatakis. As an aside, she is also calling on the Department of Defense to aid in the rescue of the Americans over in Israel. So she's working hard on that. So hopefully that'll come through. Thank you.
Okay. Before I introduce the next speaker, I just want to acknowledge the president of the College of Staten Island is here. Thank you very much. And as I said, we couldn't do this without two organizations, one of which is COJO, and I'd like to call Scott Minley up to say a few words.
Good afternoon. First and foremost, we have the State of Israel, the representative of the State of Israel in this House, Acting Counsel General Sar, and we are so proud that you're here. You have places to be in this world, but he's here with us today. And I know that our island and our borough will not let the State of Israel down, so thank you for being here. I want to thank the borough president for organizing this. He called on Saturday during a Jewish holiday. What can we do? We need to do it now. The most proactive thing that I've seen so far, so thank you, borough president, for helping us. Orit Lender and your wonderful staff at the JCC, our partner. We can't do things without you. Thank you very much, Orit. funny thing about being one of the last people to speak. Everyone says the things you want to say, and I'm ripping up my paper and I'm deleting it on my phone, and I figure I have nothing more to offer or to say other than 10 years ago, I met some of these people at a boardwalk where 3 boys were kidnapped, where we had an operation, it's called Operation Protective Edge, and at Staten Island, in one of the first rallies to support the state of Israel, I met some of these people here, Senator Lanza, Joe Borelli, Nicole Malliotakis, Micah Cusick, who's somewhere in the back, Mike McMahon. I met these people that day in different parts of their government trip, and they were there then, and they learned 3 words, Am Yisrael Chai, Israel shall live. But unfortunately, nothing has changed in the world opinion. We're 10 years later, and what do? We have cowards killing 40 babies. We have cowards raping women. We have cowards pillaging simple people who only want to work the land. And what does half of the world do? They have protests in support of these cowards. They don't deserve protests. They don't deserve a hand. They don't deserve even to be called people. They are terrorist animals. I'm an American. I am married to an Israeli. I am a 5th-generation American. I have nothing but red, white, and blue running through my veins, but I'm married to an Israeli. I'm a community person. I work hard for our community, but today I'm a Jew. And as a Jew, I have a son who took him 2 days to get back to Israel in order to support his country and his units. I have nephews and nieces right now that are in the Gaza envelope looking to defend and help the state of Israel. I have 15 cousins that are doing what they can do. Mendy has a son. Instead of leaving Israel when a lot of people left Israel, which was their right and understanding, Mendy's son is putting together packages for soldiers. This is what we do for our country. And this is what the borough of Staten Island is doing for our people. This is what the city of New York, the greatest city still in this world, because we do have bad parts, but we have good parts. And this is the good parts right over here. All of you here are the good parts. To finish, I've been asked by rabbis over the past 2 or 3 days, we have to pray, we have to pray, we have to pray. And prayer is what we need to do. Yes, 100%. But I'm reminded of a portion in Exodus where Moses is at the foot of the Red Sea, or the Sea of Reeds, if you don't want to watch the movie, and the people, and he gets down on his knees, he prays to God, God, our enemy is coming, what do I do? Please, God, please tell me what to do. And God said, stop praying, get up and go into the sea. Do what you need to do for each other. So yes, prayers are important. I want everyone to pray. Please pray for us, pray for the people that are there. However, we're being attacked by a force that could outbuy us and outspend us 20 to 1, 30 to 1. We need things in Israel. I implore all of you, look for sites, look for ways to donate. Donate food, donate money for vests, donate money or your time or your social media accounts to make sure that this world sees the truth. Because you can't be wrong if you're right, and we are right. We are being murdered today. At the end of this program, I'm going to ask men to please come into a corner. We want to pray. We want to pray for, it's called Mishaber HaChayalim, that the Chayalim, the soldiers that have been hurt and wounded, we want to make sure that they have a speedy recovery. We also want to say Kaddish for the souls that we lost. We're going to do it at the end of the day in the corner. I just ask for rabbis and people to join us there. I thank everyone here. I thank all my good friends in back of me. I thank the wonderful people of the United States of America who I know support Israel hand over foot whenever we need them. Thank you very much.
I want to thank the borough president. There really isn't much more to say than a personal accounting I have to give. On Saturday morning and Shabbos, and we split the holiday, Shmini Atzeres, the 8th day of Assembly, with Simchas Torah, the celebration of the Torah on Sunday. Israel is together one day, the Shmini Atzeret with the Simchat Torah. When we came into the synagogue and when the NYPD showed up and they told us there aren't any credible threats, and when they decided to make certain security provisions and it finally hit me what's going on, my wife came over and said, let's speak to Ariel tomorrow night and find out the scoop. We spoke to Ariel. Our son just turned 18. He's spending a year in Ashreinu, Ramat Beit Shemesh, near Jerusalem. His reaction is, Dad, Mom, I'm not leaving. I spoke to Uncle Joe. Uncle Joe is a child Holocaust survivor, my father's cousin, and Yosemite. And my son said, I'm here for the year to study. I'm in school. This is my home. My cousins were taken to the front. They were taken all ordered to mobilized. And he remembers the story from my grandmother when my grandfather was a cantor serving in Tel Aviv during the Yom Kippur War. And when they remembered World War I and World War II and the Yom Kippur War and the young men being taken out to battle, my contribution is to do whatever is necessary to make the lives of the soldiers easier, to show moral support to my people of my nation. This is my home. I'm staying here. But Uncle Joe told them something which is very apropos about today's press conference organized by our great borough president. Uncle Joe said, when fascism, when World War II was happening, when the anti-Semitic rhetoric was happening, the humanity was lost. Today, the borough president reminds us of what's missing in the world humanity. Our elected representatives remind us what is lacking in the world, humanity, respect, understanding what's right from wrong. Senator Lanza summed it up the best. We have to make a choice. As President Bush said when 9/11 happened, do we stand with freedom and democracy, or do we stand with terror and with hate? And thanks to our great borough president of bringing everybody together, and thanks to our district attorney who reminds us that the law will be enforced and warning all evildoers, don't even think about it, there'll be repercussions and reprisals. And our great NYPD, our Chief Galata and the wonderful precinct commanders, they will enforce the law. That humanity was lacking by the Holocaust. The only piece of the equation, which I concur with all of our elected officials and our council members, and I believe you said it, Joe, the best, Councilman Borelli, we must make certain that the narrative, the story in the media is not altered. We have to make certain that the press stays true to the story and report the facts, and to not give a fiction or a biased opinion of what's going on. There will be a day when this war will come to a close, and hopefully, like in World War II, we ridded the world of fascism and Nazism. We will rid the world of terror. But once that day comes, we have to make certain that the history books record accurately what happened, so tragedy should be no more. I'll conclude. May he who makes peace in his heavens makes peace on this earth. Amen. And all those who harbor hatred, bigotry, venom in their hearts, learn the error in their ways, and transform that negativity into a positivity to help become partners in making this a better world. God bless you all. Thank you again, Mr. Borough President. Thank you, Elise. Thank you, Scott.
So before I call up our last speaker, I just want to thank again the elected officials behind me. As we said, this is not a Democratic or Republican thing. This is the right thing to do as we stand united. I want to thank all of you for coming out today. Thank you. All of you. This is what this country is all about. We were joined by Michael Cusick, a former assemblyman and always a strong ally in support of Israel. Michael, thank you for coming. And throughout history, there's always that one moment where people have to meet it. We need to stand united with Israel to meet its moment and rid this world of hatred and evil and terrorism once and for all. As mentioned, our hosts today, we could not have done it without them. They do a great job every day, not just here across the city, but around the world. The JCC, led by Arit.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us here today in support of the people of Israel. I want to acknowledge our public official who was not able to be here but did send their support, which is Public Administrator Edwina Martin. Borough President, I want to thank you for leading this press conference. Alongside our partner, Kojo, this event matters. Not being silent matters. To all of our elected officials on Staten Island, you are not being silent, and the Staten Island Jewish community thanks you. I want to acknowledge both colleges are here present. Thank you for your support. This facility would not be possible without an extraordinary board of directors under the leadership of Kim Avis and Sue Sapin, and our newest partners, Hillel of Staten Island. I want to thank the leadership of Susan Bender and Beth Siegelbracht. On Saturday, we woke up to heartbreaking news of unprecedented and unprovoked attacks against Israel. It took place on Shabbat, on Simchat Torah, a joyous holiday that was marred with tragedy. Terrorists killed, wounded Israelis, and took civilian hostages. My heart is broken for all impacted by this horrific attack. For me, just like Scott and Mindy and so many here today, this is very personal. My family, who lives in the south in Kibbutz Urim, has been sheltering in place for 4 days. Military surrounding them now to ensure their security. Military that captured terrorists inside the kibbutz. I, like so many here, have family members who have been called to serve to defend the land of Israel. May Hashem protect them all. We at the JCC stand with the people of Israel. We will support them any way we can. We will support our local kehillah, our community of Israelis, including college students, through our social services department, which we are doing now. We are partnering with our partner and core organization, UJA Federation of New York, to provide support on the ground in efforts to support Israel. UJA has committed $10 million through an endowment, $2.6 million through crisis funds, and has raised $12 million over the last few days specifically to fund efforts on the ground in Israel. I want to thank Susan Sapin and Jay Chazanoff, who sit on the UJA board on behalf of Staten Island. Thank them for their leadership and their commitment alongside the board of UJA for their commitment to support people in Israel. Later today, we will be sending out the resources that you heard about to support Americans who are in Israel. Please, if you are aware of Americans who are in Israel and need support, or Israeli family that is in harm's way, please take a look at the resources we will be providing, and the JCC is here to help. We will continue to be here for those who need us as the crisis evolves. I would like to just conclude with a portion from the prayer from Israel. Strengthen our hands of those who defend our holy land. Grant them deliverance. Adorn them from the mantle of victory. Adorn peace in the land and grant its inhabitants eternal happiness. Am Yisrael, tiyu chazakim. Anachnu itchem. Israel, we stand with you. Be strong. Am Yisrael chai.
Before we're about to sing the national anthem of Israel, but before we do that, let's give the Consul General an indication of how much we support him and his countrymen as he delivers the message back.
Now to sing the national anthem, Harold Bergman.
You will close.
Not different. It's the national anthem of Israel. I've got it right there.
You know, I've sung this song many times on pleasant occasions. I sing this now to honor the people of Eretz Yisrael. And I want everybody to sing it so loud that we blow the roof off this building so that the people of Israel know that the citizens of Staten Island of every race, creed, and color support their cause. So please join me. Kol od baleva pnima nefesh Yehudi chomia lefate mizrach Kadima, Ayin Letzion, Sophia, Ad lo ata tikvatenu, Ha-tikva shinot apayim, Lioram hafsi, Beratzenu, Eretz Zion, Yerushalayim, Lioram hapsi, Be'atzenu, Eretz Zion, Yerushalayim. God bless Israel. God bless America. Thank you.
That concludes our press conference. Any questions?
We asked the mayor and the governor today. They made the Columbus Day parade, but they didn't come here.
I do not speak for either the governor or the mayor. I should suggest you take that. I know the mayor actually had an event last night in Manhattan on 39th Street and Broadway. So, anything else?
That's it.
Thank you all for coming. Appreciate it.